This is my side. I'm going to call this story part one of my lifetime story. I said I was never going to actually tell this story, or I always wanted to write a book, but was always afraid of actually writing a book because I didn't know how people was going to react or even think of me, after doing this because of how persistent, I am as a woman, and how I carry myself overall. But I've been involved with a married man for over 22 years, and it cost me two marriages. It caused me to default on some loans, a house. It caused me to have somehow a lack of self-esteem, in how and what I do, as far as how I carry myself, or I would have carried myself. I got involved with this guy. I'm gonna call him Bubba. I got involved with him 22 years this year, and my baby girl was only 2 years old. When I got involved with him, I was in a relationship or a marriage that I had just gotten married to my first husband, and in our first marriage, we were had some ins and outs because he was on his way to prison. And he was on his way to prison because he was a big time drug dealer, and with him being a big time drug dealer, he got busted, and he was sentenced to 7 years in a federal prison, and he lied in the midst of saying how long or exactly what kind of time that he was going to get or had gotten. And I thought that he had like maybe 6 months to 8 months is what he told me, and I believed it. But anyway, with doing so and being so, I was told by a couple other people, a couple other guys, that why you keep saying that he only has 6 months or 8 months or so, and because that's what he told me. And I went along with it until they kind of like hit me into the BOP website to let me see exactly like how much time he really had, or how much time that he was going to actually do. So when I found out that he had a 7-year sentence, I was very, very, very upset. I was so mad at him because I felt like he married me knowing that he had a prison sentence. And in that prison sentence, he kind of involved me in it because we could have just waited until he came home, and maybe if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. But we got married 2 months prior to him turning himself in. So we're going to say he turned himself in, which it was April 2022. So when he turned himself in, I, threatened a divorce. I was so upset. Like, you had me hold my life down for 7 years, knowing that you had a prison bed. And, I was just, devastated, upset. Well, so there was this barbershop talk, so that I heard. I heard it by Bubba. And this barbershop talk was that my husband was going to prison, and when he was going to prison, he was leaving a smart, intelligent, sexy wife behind. And when he was leaving her behind, he had to see, who she was, and, let me see what this big talk was about, or let me, slide in and see what I can, see if I can see who she was. So he did just that. Anyway, I worked at this buy here pay here lots, and when I worked at this buy here pay here lot, it was a actual lot that probably everybody went to if you couldn't afford to actually go to a bank. We had every car that you can think of. We were a small buy here pay here lot, but that small buy here pay here lot was large. Anyway, I was the actual manager there, as well as a salesman, or whatever you want to do. We just fit in where you get in. So while I was there, I was getting out a car, leaving the bank, or what we call as a bank run. And when I came back, he kind of pulled up on me getting out of the car, and he introduced himself and told me who he was, and he gave me his business card. And he told me, in his words, don't remember, but vaguely, if you want to, have a good time, just let me know. Here's my card. Call me. Well, of course, I'm a little interested, because this guy looked almost just like my husband. The complexion was almost to the T. The eyes was almost to the T, which they both had significant features, as far as like what they drove, the way they were built, and just the look. But his demeanor was more approachable, because he was more, kind of business kind of guy, or whatever it is, which he looked like, he had worked at some type of business or was doing some type of work or whatever. But anyway, long story short, we talked. I called him, and when I called him, we possibly had a couple conversations, and I think we probably met at a couple breakfast restaurants where only white people went. And the reason why only white people went is because it was discreet. I was married, and so was he. And when he told me that he was married, I was cool with that. I was fine with that. And maybe not mine set as far as whether or not I was okay with that, because I don't know if I was actually thinking about it. I was just thinking to myself that, I mean, he had something to lose, just as well as me maybe putting myself or whatever out there, because I had just got married. Well, it wasn't it wasn't that I was trying to hide the fact that maybe I was, seeing a married man or whatever, because maybe I don't know, maybe I was cool with it. I don't know. Or maybe it was just the fact that, my husband was gone. I don't know. But anyway, even though that I had some issues and some problems in my marriage, I was, I didn't care. So we would talk every day. We would go have breakfast every day. We would have lunch every single day. He would even come sit to my job. And when he would come sit to my job, he would sit right at my desk, right beside me. And he would have lunch with me, or breakfast sometimes, or just, just to sit up there, and just talk or whatever. Well, he lived not even a block around from where I actually worked. And I'm quite sure, he had it all planned out as far as like wife schedule, when she would come home, what if she would come home. He's already talked to her to know exactly, what she was going to do, or when she was going to do what, so he knew when to come and when not to come. And it was a car lot, so if you was really looking for his car, you would had to be looking, because it was so many other cars or whatever around in the area that you just was just looking. Every car looked alike. And she would have to pass by my job in order to get home. So this relationship went on, and we had so much fun. I grew fond of him. I'm quite sure he did the same. We would give each other advice. We would give each other opinions of, business, because he had a business and I wanted to start my own business. And he kind of was like a ride or die, somebody who I was, looking for and searching for, somebody who had my back, and kind of helped me, become the person that I think I was searching for or wanted to be. Well, he, you know, kind of did things or whatever that my husband didn't do. Like he would, you know, tell me how pretty I was, or, you know, how I looked at maybe my clothes, where my husband would say to me, you know, if I had on some tight jeans, you're gonna get a yeast infection, and he go like, you fine, you know. So he kind of hyped me up, you know, and with that hype up, I think that's why, you know, I fell for him. Well, we decided that we were going to go on a cruise, and when we decided that we was going to go on a cruise, this was maybe 2 months into the relationship, maybe 3 months into the relationship, because this was the summer, and we decided that we was going to go on a cruise. And when we decided that we were going to take that cruise, he had to come up with some excuses of what he was going to say to her, or how he was going to say that he was going somewhere. So his excuse was that I think every man in my city at that time would use, because not everybody is kind of wanting to get involved in that, but want to say that they were going to auctions or repo a car or whatever it is. That was the excuse, or, you know, dealer license, you know, whatever, because that was my line of work, and that it still is my line of work to this day. And he would tell her that, you know, I guess when he would actually, you know, stay late at my house, that's what he was doing, repo cars for whomever, or looking, you know, at an auction with somebody or another dealer, you know, for whatever reason. However, he decided that he was getting involved in that, and he had no affiliation on whatsoever, but she believed it. So we went to the cruise, on a cruise to the Bahamas, and we went on a cruise to the Bahamas, and we had an absolutely, when I mean a great time. It was 4 nights and 3 days. He has never been on a cruise. I had never been on a cruise, so that was something that we did together. We did a lot of things first time together, and I don't know if that made the attachment, you know, so much easier for us, or made us love, or at least I thought loved, the way that we did, because of, you know, the things that we did together that we have never done ever before with our significant others or spouses. And we went to the Bahamas with our 4 days, 3-night cruise. And of course, you know, like sometimes you can't call out, maybe because, you know, the phone receptions as far as like how, you know, that works or whatever on ships and stuff, or whatever it is. So we got to know each other a little bit more better, where we had no distractions, no, you know, hiding, no nothing or whatever. And we just, you know, act like we were a total couple. We act like we were husband and wife. We did it, you know, people would think that we were married, because it was almost like a bond that we had, that we didn't know that we had. And when we got back after that cruise, driving to Florida, we had to go back to Georgia. And from that cruise, somehow, some way, all mess broke loose. I was getting phone calls from my husband, which he knew I was on a cruise, but I had him thinking that I was on a cruise with a couple of my friends. And maybe, like I told you, he told her that he was on a cruise with, well, not on a cruise, that he was gone XYZ, you know, whatever, for some cars, whatever the excuse was. Don't know, don't remember, whatever, you know, he said. But it was something in that area. So he told her that he called me. No, I called him, and when I called him that night when we got home, and just would give, you know, our good nights, good night, you know, talk or whatever. And when I had that, or said that, or got ready to call, or called him, she answers the phone. And when she answers the phone, I'm assuming, and I think that he just handed it off to her because maybe she was right there and she kind of got heat of supposedly we were messing around. And when she answered the phone, or I answered the phone, when she answered the phone, I said to her, or she said to me, hey, are you and, Bubba talking or messing around? And I said, no, like, no. And I said, he repossesses cars for us, and, he detailed cars for us. And I was kind of giving him his, basically his detailed list of what he needs to do for the next day. Came real fast, came real quick. I'm talking about somebody else's husband, wife, never been in that situation before, so I'm a little freaked out too. So when I gave or told him that, he just said, got on the phone or whatever, and he goes like, yeah, she think that, we supposed to be talking, we supposed to be messing around, and that's why I gave her the phone, but yeah, what you was calling about, and I was telling him, whatever, make up this lie because let's keep it cool, let's keep it real, of pretending like this is why I was calling. So the next morning, he came to my job, and he kind of told me that she found out, or somebody called her and told her that we was on a cruise together. And he was a talker. He boasts and he brags a lot. He does that. He likes to play big shot. That's why he has the name Bubba, because of, it was kind of like the big shot kind of, bad to Billy kind of guy for me. So I just call him Bubba. And when he said that somebody told her, or I had a really close friend that I trusted, that she was the only somebody that I knew, because just in case something kind of flipped out or got ugly, or didn't know where I was, or something happened while we was on the cruise, somebody had to know what was going on. So you always kind of tell somebody, the story of, or tell somebody what's going on or whatever in the situation, just in case something bad kind of, happens. I had 3 kids, 3 babies that was back home that I had to get back to. So anyway, she asked, she asked him about, him being on a cruise or whatever it is. And he said, no, where'd that come from? Whatever. And come to find out that my husband knew, and my husband got in contact with her and told her that we were on an actual cruise before. And I didn't find that out until I sent him a picture of me on the cruise at the captain's dinner. And when I sent him that picture, I received it back in a bigger envelope, the same kind of envelope that I sent him. It was an 8x10 picture, all tore up in millions of pieces. And when he will only call like once a week, and of course, I can't call him, and to kind of keep maybe the bill down, because at that time, that's when like you had to put money on the books, whatever it was. But he would only call like once a week or twice a week or so. And that's because, number one, he knew I was pissed off. He didn't know how to. He still was lying about the time frame that he had. And so when I received it back, I think he called maybe that Saturday or something or whatever to completely cuss me out. And of course I denied it, not telling the truth about who I was with, even though like he knew, but he would never tell me like where he got that information from. Well, okay, so now Bubba, I decided, no, let's go back. I decided that I was going to open up my own Buy Here, Pay Here, because the Buy Here, Pay Here lot that I was actually working for, he got on drugs. he was going through a divorce, and with him going through that divorce kind of took him out. He was carrying around guns. He would walk the streets, barefooted. He would say that people was following him, or he was seeing things, and I it was just too much. I just could not go through not knowing what my situation was going to be at work, or what I was going to go through. And with all being said, I was not going to live that life around guns, and just not knowing like what my next day was going to be like at work, because that was kind of almost like your peace place, away from kids. I enjoyed where I worked at, but it kind of got a little bit overwhelming. So because I knew a lot about the buy here, pay here, he decided that, he pushed me and decided that, hey, I'll help you. And he did just that. Everything that he said that he was going to do, he did just that. He literally saw about me and my children better than my husband saw about me and my children. And I think he asked me, until, that day or whatever, however long, why did I love him the way I love him? And I think it was more or less because he made sure that even in our situation and what we was in, that me and my children were going to be seen about. We were going to he was not going to treat us as if we were like the side piece children, or the other family or whatever. He literally saw about me and my children. He when I decided I was going to purchase a house, or even get this buy here, pay here lot going, he paid for my closing. He would make sure that the things that needed to be done as far as the house that I was building was done. He made sure that with me opening up the buy here, pay here, that he was there every step to meet the state, to make sure that the cars was in order, to make sure that I wasn't getting walked on, and he wouldn't let nobody talk bad to me. He was a really, really, really good confidant. Well, when I opened up the car lot, he kind of was doing his job as well as working for me too. And so he worked for me as pretending as he was, again, the detailer, as his wife would think, but she wasn't allowed to come to my lot or my place. And I don't know what he told her, like why she couldn't come, or maybe she just didn't know, that he couldn't come, or she couldn't come at that time, or whatever. I don't know, but she did not come at the car lot, at any point. So anyway, while I was opening up the car lot, I was also working at that buy here, pay here, who I was, working for previously, and also I was building a house at the same time. And while I was building this house, or done building this house, he would, buy me all the appliances that I needed, that of course didn't come with the house, and he would do this, he would do that, and he would still come more at night when the kids were asleep, because the kids don't know who he was or who he is or even anything about him. We were still kind of sneaking and, not knowing, each other's family or whatever it is, even though they would see him from time to time in different places, but didn't know that that was somebody who mommy was seeing or mommy was talking to. So he kind of basically, with building the house, done with the house, he would stay with me, which we were about maybe 20 minutes apart from one another, from where he lived at and from where I lived at. But he would come stay, and he would leave at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and he, would be there. Or sometimes he would just like stay all night long. On the weekends, it was not even a time frame. He would just stay all night long. And so, I would see his phone call. Hear his phone ring, or it's always on silent, or kind of feel it, vibrating. And or he'll go in the bathroom and he'll have conversations or whatever with her. And while he have conversations with her, and tell her whatever lie that he's gonna tell her, whatever he said to her, and then I won't see him maybe until, that Monday, if he went home that Sunday, or he went home late that Saturday. So we kind of got closer then. And when we kind of got closer, our relationship go even closer now, because we're working together. And with us working together, we're, closer. So we are acting as if we're husband and wife. And I mean acting like we're husband and wife, because now I don't care. And my husband knows about him, and she's been hearing things or whatever about me, but she can't pinpoint it and necessarily put her hands on it, because she's not sure if it's true or not. She just think that he's just working for me. He got into this fight at the barbershop, and when he got into this fight at the barbershop, one of the guys from the barbershop called me and told me that the ambulance was picking him up. Of course, barbershop talk or whatever, everybody knew that we were in a relationship. So they called me and told me that the ambulance was picking him up, and they were on their way to the hospital, and I met him out there to the hospital. And as I met him at the hospital, he is in the bed, in the stretcher, and they ask him questions about, he's vomiting everywhere, and they're asking him questions from dehydrations, just, I guess, adrenaline from the fight. And they asked him like what his social security number was, birthday, whatever, and he couldn't give it to him, and I gave it to him. And I just, it just birthday, blah 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 blah, social security, blah 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 blah, whatever. And the hospital assumed that I was the wife, because I knew the information, without even hesitation, just giving it to him. And when I did that, of course, like I said, they assumed that I was the wife. And all of a sudden, he comes down, he's laying in the bed, and I'm asking him what went on and what happened. And when I asked him what went on, what happened, we both kind of got quiet, and we hear the wife coming down the hallway. And how we both knew it was her is because of the sweatsuits that she used to wear, and it was the wind kind that kind of made that noise. And when she came in, she asked, or she knew then, that obviously I'm more than just the worker, or the, we're closer than that, because why are you at the hospital as well as, as me? And she started to, fight me. And he kind of pushed her, kind of shoved her, so that she didn't, put her hands on me or even touch me. And when that happens or whatever, she threw my purse or whatever in the trash. And when she threw my purse in the trash, the hospital, one of the nurses, told her to leave. And she goes like, I'm the wife. I am the wife. Make her leave. Make her leave. And I told them, I'll leave. I'll leave. And I did that. And when I left the hospital, he calls me shortly after that. And when he calls me shortly after that, he said to me, come pick me up. And I'm going like, what are you talking about? Come pick you up? I'm like, like your wife is, there at the hospital. And he goes like, no, I told her to go. Come pick me up. And so I was going to his mama's job to tell her what had happened, let her know that he was out to the hospital. Somebody need to go out there. She tried to, fight me. Of course, we did not touch one another, or she did not touch me. And he called while I was talking to her, and while he called while I was talking to her, I told her, this is him, let me go pick him up from the hospital. And when I went to go pick him up from the hospital, she was gone. And she knew then that that was the beginning of a relationship that we both had.